possible to talk.
There we go. Now we can both wear hats.
I got jealous
Although
that
yours is cooler.
no, it's not. I don't look good in hats. I got jealous that Danny had commented on your hat, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna wear a hat this week. Shout out to Danny.
Sometimes you just got to. Shout out to Danny.
Yeah, but I don't really own that many hats, and I feel like this one doesn't have. I feel like yours it looks better like this. It's just
It kind of
flat.
depends on the hat style. I think that hat style should be more flat, but I don't know that I feel like I can pull the flat ones off as well.
I can't pull hats off in general, but I'm gonna wear this one. Brand choice.
That looks great. Nice brand representation.
All right. How about
Always
you?
be repping.
You kick us off with the first one.
Okay, this one's about hiring, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of convos.dev. I'm Chris, and as always, I'm here with Jess, and we've got a fun episode today. Jess, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. Excited.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, well, you should be excited because we're going to talk about hiring and also applying to jobs. And so you've just gone through this process personally. I'm in the midst right now of hiring a position at Resend, and I know you've done that kind of stuff before, whether with contractors or others. So I just want to talk about, like, from, I guess, the interviewer's perspective, the company's perspective, what are things that are like good signs? What are things that are negative signs, both in the like application process and then also just some tips, I guess, for going through that whole process. I don't know that I'm like the world's best advice giver on this topic, but it's fresh in my mind since I'm doing it. And I've seen a lot of people do it really well. And I've seen some people that I'm like, ooh, this could have come across a little bit better if we thought about this more.
Yeah, I just want to say, first of all, congrats. I feel like it's such a big honor to have a company trust you enough to hire somebody, which is so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you excited?
I am. I also feel nervous in a lot of ways. I feel like almost everyone I'm talking to is more qualified than I am in a lot of ways. Like like just the years they've done the thing. But I think that's an exciting spot to be in, like that we're able to pull such high talent. And like, I feel like each of these people are people that I'm going to level up a lot just to be working next to. So I'm excited about it. And I'm super excited to be part of that hiring process and be entrusted with a lot of the kind of the initial work, at least, of screening and kind of seeing where we go with people.
Are you going to be this person's manager? Like, you're going to help manage this person?
No, we're going to be, coworkers. Yeah. So
Okay.
it's kind of like an interesting like spot to be in too, as a coworker, to be like screening these people. But it also is like, who do I want to work with? And I think that's a cool thing to get to have a say in.
Yeah. Okay. Give me your thoughts first, since you're currently doing this process. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'll just start with a couple and then we can kind of banter and I can add more as we go. But as far as like the initial screening, I think we have had like at least 300 applicants to this job.
Wow.
After posting about it once, which is great. But it
I
also means like half of my week.
I referred somebody.
Is that?
I
Yeah?
think. No, or Jason wanted me to refer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I talked to that candidate and they seem super solid. So thank you.
Oh, yay.
Yeah. But yeah, I think like seeing how many applications came in, like gave me a couple of things. One is like, we were going to do just general DX and really decided, let's specify that this is a technical writer. And I think that really helped with the quality of applicants we got, because it was very clear to tell like, these people are definitely writers versus just general DX or DevRel, which can kind of mean anything. So that was one like good thing we did, but I was still surprised at how many applicants we got. And maybe that was because we were so specific, like people were searching for those keywords and things. So we got a lot of people who were writing like just corporate technical writing that weren't really developers. So like those were, we pretty much set them aside. I'm sure they're gifted writers, but we kind of need someone who's a developer. But it really made me realize like how important it is to differentiate yourself in the onboarding process, because even taking 5 minutes per candidate would have taken me my entire week basically to go through them. So a lot of them, it was a very quick decision of, okay, like, let me read through their basic stuff. So for instance, we asked a couple of questions like, how do you think about marketing to developers? Another one was like, give me a link of something that you've written that you're proud of. And several people, even though they looked really qualified, just skipped those questions altogether or put like 2 dashes. And
That's
I'm like,
bad.
You might be great, but like, if you can't just at least write something here, like that tells me already, like, I'm not sure this is going to be a good fit. And so I think making sure that you're thorough in your answers. Other people wrote like, huge long paragraphs. I even had someone who had clearly the beginning of text copy from ChatGPT or something, because it was like, you could answer like this, dot.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
But yeah, just finding ways to differentiate yourself by the quality and like conciseness, but like depth of your answers, I think was really important for me as I was going through that kind of review process.
Are you using AI at all to help screen, or you're manually going through every single thing and skimming it?
Yeah, I manually went through everything and skimmed it. I'm sure I could have used AI. I think for me, because like this is such an important role for us, I'm like, it's worth it for me to take 4 or 5 hours and go through 100 candidates. And I'll open up their blog. I read, like, try to scan through their writing. Like, I'm reading through all the things they've done. So for the most part, like I spent 3 to 5 minutes on people who I thought were qualified. I feel like if they spent whatever 30 minutes, an hour, like applying, getting a resume together, it deserves a manual look over. And maybe if I had 1,500, I wouldn't be doing that. But I felt like I could with 200 to 300.
I'm going to start using new terminology at Brain Trust. We call each other queens and kings. So I'm going to call you a king.
Wow.
You're such a king.
Man, thanks. What a moniker. I'll take that.
How many people, actually, I don't know how much you're allowed to tell me, but like how many people made it to, did you end up like talking to?
Yeah, I don't know how much I want to reveal because I'm still not totally sure if I'll do a second round of talking to people yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had more than a dozen really qualified people. And then there's several stages after that. And several of them were really smart and brilliant, just maybe not quite the right fit for they weren't really a developer. They just had done some API documentation. Others of them were very strong on long form writing, but not on doc writing. So it's going to be kind of a decision of where do we want to play this role? Where are the strengths? How does that complement the team? So I think a lot of it is we've got a lot of super qualified people. We need to figure out kind of where it's going to fit properly in the team.
What are you looking for? How can you tell if somebody's good at technical writing?
Yeah, well, I think there's two things I was really paying attention to. One is culture fit. And I think especially for people applying to startups, culture is so crucial to a startup, especially if you're one of 30 people or one of 20 people. You are going to come in and have a massive say, not just in the current trajectory of the company, but on the long-term culture of the company. So I was really looking for culture fit, which has everything to do with, for us, humility, people who are super self-starters. They're willing to take criticism. They think like a developer first and everything else second. There's a lot of things like that that are just kind of part of our general culture at Resend. So that was one major thing. As far as technical writing, it helps that I wrote documentation for the last 10 years. And so I have opinions, and it also helps that I have several post-grad degrees. So I've written a ton. And so I have things I just like and don't like. And that doesn't mean I'm the world's best writer. I think I need to grow a lot in my storytelling, but on a grammar level, I have lots of little quirks that I just don't like. So for instance, for me, when I look through the resume, if I'm seeing misspellings or they didn't space stuff well, I'm just this is not somebody who has the attention to detail I need. So that's an immediate little red flag. I want to look at their actual work and see, is it scannable? Have they thought through the way people typically read these posts? Are they just huge blocks of text? Are they telling a good story? Is their sentence structure? Does it vary? Are they using passive voice? Those are things I see immediately on a page, which again, maybe I'm just weird and quirky, but that's kind of how I'm trying to evaluate them is how much, if I had to review this, would I be marking this up? And if I'm reading it, I'm okay, they're clearly telling a good story. They understand people don't read huge blocks, so they're making this readable and digestible even on a scan. Then there's some tells around passive voice and other things like that I'm okay, for me personally, Oxford commas are a big deal, but I wouldn't turn somebody away for that. But I there's a lot of little tiny things like that that I care about. So yeah, I don't know. That's kind of my process. Is those two things is what I'm looking at.
Okay, that makes sense. Do you think creating good diagrams is also important for somebody who's a technical writer?
I think good diagrams
visuals.
show your ability to process stuff well as a storyteller and understanding how people read. As far as do they have to be able to create them themselves? I mean, that would be ideal. honestly, but I think that's one that I could do without if we had to. I can create them. We can have design to create them. But I do think like that is a huge help. And we would always include visuals throughout a post. So ideally, yes, but I realize that that may not be everyone's strength, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's so interesting, and that's awesome. And yeah, I have never I I have never personally opened up a role or interviewed for a role, but I've been helpful in the interview process. Like I've been one of the interviewers, and there have been times where I've had to interview for like my own manager or something like that, which has been
Yeah.
interesting.
What are ways
I
that you feel like people like stand out in the process for you? Because I think that's what I'm like trying to fight through is like, okay, what are the things that I'm really looking for? What catches my eye? And I'm figuring that out as I go, but I don't know that I have like a real strong rubric up front.
Yeah, it's so interesting because I would say that I have pushed for candidates in the past where I thought there was like a toss up between two candidates, and I pushed for one of them for XYZ reasons. Similar to what you said, like I thought they were more of a self starter, like I thought they would be better for our culture, things like that. And you know, they got to the job and I just don't think they did very well. And, you know, it's like, that's totally fine. I think it's, I think it's hard for me because I, I feel like I've seen so many people come and go. A lot of them that were like medium fits and strong fits or weak fits. And I feel like it's so hard to vet for that, and I'm not good at it. And I'm also somebody who I don't think I'm opinionated enough to be good at interviewing.
Yeah. You're like, I can work with anyone. Just can you do the job and then let's go and see what happens kind of thing? Or
I think it's because my gut has been wrong a couple of times, or so. And sometimes the person that I don't think was good, we end up hiring, and then they're great. And I'm like, oh, whoops, like, or a lot of the time, I feel like some candidates are really good at interviewing, but when they get to the job, they seem very enthusiastic in the interview, and then they get to the job, and they have a great couple first months, but they quickly like stop doing as much work as they come in. And some people who didn't really have all the necessary qualifications, but were really, really hungry, grew so much in their role over years. And in my head, I'm like, it would have been impossible for me to know that. And I guess maybe that's where reference checks or like knowing them through the network, and so knowing them as like more whole people is helpful. But it's really hard, and like that's why it's a whole job to like know all of that and to find
Yeah.
out that. So
Yeah, I have no idea if I'm going to be any good at this either because I'm at the beginning process of it. And you're so right that like you really are making an educated guess. And so I'm sure like having done that a lot and like seeing it pan out sometimes and not others would also make me less confident in my abilities to kind of narrow the field. Have there been any like within interviews yourself or while part of like a group interview session, what are the kinds of questions that you feel like you found to be helpful? Like, even if you're like, I don't know that it helped in the long run, but like, I felt like that was revealing about who the person was, or are there any things like that stick out? Asking for a friend.
I don't know, because I never I was always doing like very specific, like it was never the like culture intro call or like the vibes
Yeah.
call. So it's hard to generalize because more of my questions were specific.
Yeah. Like to the role or.
Yeah, to the role. yeah, I got to think about that one. I'm not
Yeah.
really sure. Yeah.
I can tell you a couple that I found, at least it seems like, are helpful and revealing.
Yeah.
Like more open-ended questions that allow them to kind of move in different directions. I'm thinking more culture things.
Okay.
Like for instance, asking them like, what are the qualities you really find like make you feel like you're running downhill, you're running on all cylinders, you're really doing well. What are the kinds of people around you that help you feel that way? And like conversely, like what frustrates you? And like sometimes people really go into things that they just hate and they like stay there for like 5 minutes. And I'm like, okay, maybe this this person gets has a little more problem than I want to deal with. And other times people are like, I really love it when I'm given a direction and then I'm trusted, and like people are super like responsive. I want feedback, and I really like it when those kinds of things. I'm like, okay, that at least tells me the kinds of things they go to. And I've asked that enough to where like it seems like people go with their gut on that question more. Another one I found that's kind of the same thing has been like, let's go a year from now. Let's say we hire you. What would make you say like, man, this was such a good fit? Like, what would it feel like? And that's the same kind of question where they're saying, oh, it would feel like this. And I feel like I had, so that's another way to think about it. And it like allows them to cast a vision. And then I've also asked the negative before, like, let's say in a year we hire you and you realize like, this is not working out. What is it that would cause you to make that call? And again, it forces them to put it in reality and in the future. And so they're like, well, probably if I got there and I felt like I wasn't trusted and I felt like I was micromanaged constantly, or what, like it helps me realize what's important to them. So those are a few like kind of cultural things that I found have been really helpful in the discussion process for me to kind of like understand what's important to them. Another one has been like around what motivates them. So like you can give scenarios. Like I've done stuff like, all right, let me give you 3 options. One is you get like a all kudos channel call out and people are like jumping dog pile and saying how amazing you are. Another one is like your boss just privately DMs you and says, like those kinds of things. Like I could tease out a few scenarios. Which one of those would be most meaningful to you? Or is there something else, really meaningful to you? And sometimes people are like, honestly, like I just want to, like at the end of the day, for me to know I really did my best work. And if no one notices it, it doesn't really bother me, or some people are like, if I don't get public recognition, it's a big deal to me. And that's not like a good or a bad thing necessarily, but it helps me understand, even if we do like hire them, okay, this is something that's valuable to them. I need to make sure that like that's something I'm continuing as they move forward. So I think those are a couple things that I found useful, but I don't know if that triggered any thoughts for you or if you have any thoughts about that.
Those are all such great questions, such great and thoughtful questions. I'm obviously going to come in with my very jaded view, which is the fact that like I come from I've probably practiced those questions so many times before interviews. I've also given like mock behavioral, like those types of interviews to some of my friends who are like in university and trying to get like internships and jobs. And that's totally fine. Like it's fine to practice your answers and have something locked and loaded. It's in college, it was like the thing that I learned to do. And I think that these questions are amazing, but I've probably met a lot of people who have essentially learned how to game that system. For example, I know people who claim that they just want to do their best work and they don't need recognition. They're not playing the politics game and things like that. And I think that's a lie. Because there is a correct vibe, essentially, that most people know that they're going for, which is like heads down, humble, hardworking, right? And people know that, and so it's easy to game that system. That being said, I think it's a great question. I think you can still get a lot from people who, just by seeing how they answer. But there were times where I did mock interviews with people. I thought, and they didn't do very well, and we had to sit down and craft like an example. And of course, all examples should be tied in reality and what actually happened. But there is a way to hey, you need to give an example of what you did, show the metrics of what you did, talk about why you're interested and there's a formula essentially for doing it. And online, you see a lot of people give tips for how to talk about yourself and how to say things. And so it's one of those things which behavior can always be lied about and framed in a way that fits what the interviewer wants. And most people who are good at interviewing, I think, know how to game that. And again, it's such a jaded take. It really is. And I know that. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, innocent Chris is like, well, I don't know.
No,
They
it's
seem
not
nice,
innocent. It's not. It's like,
I do think that there is something towards like a lot of the questions I have that I've kind of like tried to develop. I try to get to the point where I ask a question and I can tell that they don't know the answer to it and they have to kind of talk off the top of their head. Because for me, when I'm asking questions and they're immediately just like stock answers or like they're immediately answering, and I'm sure people can game that too and, you know, play the, let me think about that, you know, but there is a moment where like I try to get to with each person I've talked to where I'm like, oh, they didn't expect that. Or like I phrase that in a different way, or I put it in a different frame of reference than they're used to. And they have to kind of like take some time to get to an answer. And like for me, like those are the most important times that I'm like, okay, I'm actually getting something real here. Because I do agree that like, especially like what interested you about this role? And like, tell me a time in your life where you were like, you know, like a lot of those things. I'm like, if you don't come prepared for that, then like, why are you even, you know, applying to a job? But I feel like there are moments you can kind of get people, you know, out of their expectations.
And you're good and I feel like you're very good at navigating those conversations too. Like,
well, I don't know because we've never been in that call, I guess. And I guess we'll see when we're done. But
I think you as a person,
I think that is a valid point, though.
Yeah, you're good at I don't know. You're good at navigating humans, I think, and trying to like navigate their thinking. And I don't know how to phrase it, but I think you'd be good at like kind of like listening to the cookie cutter answer and then getting to the level where they don't have that cookie cutter answer. Yeah.
Yeah, that is something I've consciously thought about, is trying to get to that point. I did have a weird experience where I interviewed somebody and I'm almost confident they were using AI for all the answers because they would wait.
There's gonna be so many people. Yeah.
They would wait like 10 seconds and then like read off something that included like bullet points from all of our docs or something. And I'm just like verbatim. And I'm like, I wrote that last week. So
did you call them out?
Even though the person was technical, I did not. Even though the person was technical, I was like, I don't trust this person. So it was a pass, you know? But yeah, well, that's helpful for me like to chat through. And I think that skeptic's take is important. Like, because like number one, you've had that experience a lot. You've interviewed, like I don't know that I've interviewed for almost any position I've ever gotten. Like it's been like, I have friends, I connect with them and then something just happens. So I feel really lucky in that way. But it's also like a really weird spot to now be in of trying to kind of be the initial screening. Thankfully I'll have help through the rest of the process. But it's mostly about like trying to find someone who I feel like fits well with the culture and is talented, but there's a lot of talented people, that I've had a chance to interview. So it's like anyone I say no to, I'm like, man, they're super skilled, but I just don't think it's the right fit.
Yeah. I have no doubt that you're going to find somebody that's going to be great for Resend.
Okay. 1 year from now, we'll check on the podcast.
I'm sure. Bring them onto the podcast. No.
There we go. Yes.
Yeah. And it's again, I'm so, you know, it's like I've seen long, extensive interview processes turn out a candidate that is like fits everything that you create the process for, and then they quit or get fired within a year. And again, nobody's fault. Sometimes that indicates that the interview process itself was not good.
Yeah.
Whatever we screened for was not good. But the problem is, if you were to go back into the past and redo it, it's like, because it's hard to know what you're looking for, it's hard to craft the screening process for what you're looking for, and you have to make mistakes along the way. And so in my head, it's like, it's hard to get perfect on the first try. But like, given how much care you put into things, like that's why I say I have no doubt, because it's like, like there were times where I felt like an interview process was slapped together. But I don't think that would be the case for you. I think even you saying you manually go through every candidate and read and have these screening questions, like I think that's already like so great. So, you know, yeah.
Well, that's encouraging, but I guess the proof is in the hiring. So I'm excited for it, though. Like I think, like I said, I feel like any of these people I could learn from a ton, and I think if we get the right person, they would also feel the same way, that they could learn from everyone. And so we'll see. I think hiring is such an expensive decision.
Yeah.
And we've had several people who like either just didn't quite work out at Resend or felt like they needed to move on. That I'm like, I would love for this not to be one of those, and I'm hopeful that we can get there. But
yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about tools and show and tell. Do you have a tool you'd like to show off today?
So I'll take a different twist on it. I have a tool.
Okay.
I have a tool that I don't think exists, which is I have had to create a lot of slides recently for like talks and conferences, and I hate creating slides. And this is one of these instances where I would love if there was an AI solution of some sort just to help create visuals, help format things for me. Like a lot of creating slides just feels like a waste of time. Like I have the information in my head and that's all that matters, but I don't want to spend hours formatting that information into a way that like looks pretty and looks good and stuff. And I still have not found a great solution. I've tried using Gamma, Canva, Figma, like ChatGPT connected to things, Nano Banana, like image generation. Like there's not a good solution that I found for creating slides, and I've talked to other people because I was curious if they had anything, and didn't seem like there was any like great standout solution. And so kind of a complaint more that I really wish there was a tool that just made slide creation easy, especially if you have like a company branding that you need to follow. It's like I need slides to be created but also follow this visual. So you can't just create some random visuals, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
There is a skill that is called front end slides.
Okay.
That I had a coworker use that actually produced fairly good slides. It's by Zara Zengri or something like that on GitHub.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
That might be worth checking out. I've seen this coworker present twice with it, and both times I was like, those are pretty decent. Like, so it may be worth trying that.
Are they Resend like branded slides, like, or?
No, this is somebody else, somebody just
Okay.
on the internet that he found.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
Okay, I'll give it a try.
Yeah. No promises, but at least the few I've seen, I'm like, that's pretty decent. I think you could go somewhere with that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my tool today is, let me pull up my notes here. My tool today is something called Claude Island. So I've been getting a lot more into more agentic development. In fact, I have a ton I want to talk to you about, Jess. But I happen to use Claude right now. And so the Claude CLI has these hooks that will, can fire off and say like, oh, whatever, a prompt needs your, the Claude needs your help. You need to answer something. So there's this little like thing that sits on your little island in your on your Mac that pops down and says like, hey, I have a question, whatever. And it has like a little indicator for Claude. It's been really helpful just to like, I'm doing something else and it pops up and it has a little noise it can even play to say like, hey, something needs your attention, and you can approve it directly from there or open up the terminal wherever it's at. So that's been really fun to play with. And it's been really nice while I'm doing other stuff to play around with Claude Island.
Wait, so is it like a notification tab almost?
Yeah,
Okay.
basically.
Cool. This is cool, yeah.
Yep, and it like expands down around your little like camera viewport thing.
It's so not to knock Warp at all. So I use Warp to this day. I do not use Cloud Code unless I have to explore a feature in Cloud Code. And I love, I seriously, I don't use it because I worked on it. I legitimately, either I'm used to it now or I just think it's better, the UI sometimes. But there are times where it is frustrating because, sometimes, like so many people use Claude and they're like, there's so many things with the Claude ecosystem. And I'm like, I feel like I'm missing out because I'm not using it every day. But this is super cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of little tools like that. And I do use Warp as well. I don't have a pro tier, so it doesn't do as much. I run out pretty quickly. And so I'm trying to play around with a lot of these, but also trying to take advantage of whatever Resend gives me access to, so I don't have to pay for all these things.
Definitely, yeah, so expensive. Okay.
Yeah.
Show and tell. Okay, well, I know your reaction, but
Another gold. Let's say it, Jess. Let's say
it's
it
not
together.
gold.
1, 2, 3. Oh no, I can't see it. Is it bronze?
It's bronze. Did a
Oh,
tournament last weekend. Yeah, won bronze in mixed, and then went 0 and 5. So 5 losses in a row for women's. So we have some wins, we have some losses. Also, this is old. Did I already show you this? Did I show you this?
I don't know if you did.
This is from flag football.
Oh, nice.
The tournament.
I love how a bad day for Jess is that she got bronze. You know,
It's not even.
some
I'm so
people
happy
just-
I got bronze. It's not even. I'm not even sad about it.
I love the aggressiveness of going to all these tournaments and stuff. This is super cool.
Yeah.
Mine is way less interesting than that. My show and tell is something that I think you'll think is funny because of past events. But I got a big box of screen cleaning wipes, and this has like been a
Lol.
huge unlock for me emotionally.
A huge what
I
for
just
you?
stuff a bunch of these unlocked for me emotionally. I just throw these in my backpack, and because I hate it when my screen is all messed up. And I remember that time for Warp that you
Yeah.
tried to record your screen, and all everybody talked about was the fingerprints, and then you guys sent out these cleaning
Yeah.
cloths, which was just absolutely chef's kiss, best response ever. I have one. I should have gotten it. But I like have to carry these things around with me because I hate it when I'm opening up my laptop because I usually don't use my laptop. It's open on the side over here, but I mainly use my other screens. And so when I have to stare at a screen that's all fingerprinted, it drives me insane. And I took these to like a recent offsite with a couple of my coworkers, and I gave it to them too while they were there, just because it was emotionally distressing me. And they were like, "This is awesome. We need to get these too."
That's
get
such
yourself
a
some
great
cleaning
event
wipes.
idea. Like events,
Yeah.
like you have the event, you just have those wipes. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just not the type of person who, I mean, I'm disgusting. I eat and I work and I have, it's disgusting. It's not good.
Hey, you do you. My office
okay.
is a mess, so
No,
we're all
it's
selectively
not.
clean.
This is not
This
a
isn't.
mess.
This is.
Okay, well,
Yeah, I'm actually quite messy in real life, but it doesn't look like it, and that's I
find
guess
that
all that matters.
so hard to believe. I find that so hard to believe. There's no way.
Yeah, believe it.
Anyways, thank you for tuning in to another episode of convos.dev. If you have any advice for Chris on screening
Yes,
or
please.
interviewing or hiring, let us know. Hit us up on all our social media links, platforms, all that. Until next time, thank you, Chris, for chatting. See ya.
See ya.